In today's video, I'm going to talk you through the steps to construct a firm front to the coat. It's called canvassing the coat front because we're going to be interfacing with canvas in this front area. The hallmark of a tailored garment is often the shoulder, chest area, and it needs firming up. Everyone has a natural hollow where their arm leaves their torso, and in gentlemen's suit coats, we want to firm that up with a little bit of interfacing. On the pattern, the well-used pattern here, on the pattern, here's the lapel. Here would be the breast pocket, placement, the front dart, and the armscye, and then this is the area that we're going to want to interface to create a smooth shoulder line. Here's a partially constructed coat that I used for a teaching sample. There's our pattern that we know. And then this is not finished so as to reveal the guts of the coat. Often this interfacing is called the guts of the coat. And you can see the canvas goes up the front. There's some extra layers of interfacing here, and the edge is taped. This is like a twill tape. It is tailor's tape though. It's more loosely woven than twill tape, and it's thinner. And that just stabilizes the edge of the lapel here, and I'll talk about this pad stitching. This is a special tailoring stitch in another video. And then the roll line or the break line where the lapel rolls or breaks away from the front of the coat. It gets taped as well. So we'll talk through all these steps, how to achieve this. Many people like to construct their canvas, the guts themselves. This is an example of a constructed canvas. There's an extra layer of hymo on top of this canvas hymo. There's some flannel here, and it's machine quilted together. That's great. If you want, you can purchase pre-made fronts. It's very handy. They're only about $15 for the pair, or the two fronts, that is. And it comes with the interfacing for that hollow, and then canvas left reinforced, and that is what gets folded back to create the lapel. And this goes all the way down. They come in various sizes. You can see at the bottom very faintly marked, this is a 38, and they come in all the sizes available. You might notice this canvas that I made, I carried it around the bottom of the armscye. Often they stop about here. A lot of the methods that I introduce are what I call theatrical tailoring. I build clothes for theater, specifically educational theater. Our clothes get put into stock and used and reused many times over. And so I often add interfacing where custom clothes that are meant to be worn on the street wouldn't have it in them. And this is one of the things that I do. Many of the methods that I'll be talking about today are streamlined for the fast pace of building for theater, with in educational theater, with labor that is student labor that is new to tailoring, and so I might streamline some of these techniques. So to that end, I use the pre-made fronts, and you'll notice that they don't carry that canvas or hymo under the armscye. And so I would just get a scrap of hymo, the canvas, and match the grain line, zigzag that on, and then lay my pattern on that, and there I have enough canvas to carry around and reinforce the armscye. You want to position your pattern so that the chest piece, chest interfacing, is about an inch to the body side of this roll line or break line. We don't want to be pad stitching through those layers. We don't want to be asking those layers, which are specifically designed to stiffen the chest. We don't want to ask those stiffened layers to curl around, be pad stitched, go around a curve. It would be asking too much of them. So in your positioning of the pattern on the canvas, make sure that the roll line is about 1 inch away from the interfaced portion. You want to line up your center front grain line, make sure there's enough canvas all the way around. You might move it down a little. I like to have enough canvas here at the shoulder that it will overlap the wool shoulder seam when we seam that in a later step. So this sample shows the pattern has been laid on the canvas. We've added some high-mo here and pieced that on, and then we've marked the outer edge of the canvas where we want that to go. We've marked the dart, we've marked the neck dart, the roll line or break line, notches. I like to mark my center front with button placement as well, and make sure that the canvas has good seam allowance all the way around that pattern. Because the canvas is so springy and so thick, we want to deal with the darts next. What we want to do there is cut away the dart underlay and use either some sort of wiggin or some sort of fabric to bridge the gap in there. Wiggin is, this is a roll of pre-made, pre-cut wiggin. It is on the bias. We often use it to interface sleeve cuffs or the hems. I also like to cut a length and use it to bridge the gap on this dart. So for example, here's a dart that has been cut away, and so there's the shape of the dart, and we want to lay the wiggin on, bridging that, and we want to butt the edges of the dart together and pin that in place to the wiggin, and then take that to the sewing machine and zigzag around it so that it holds the shaping without adding a lot of bulk. The wiggin is a really nice, crisp, thin fabric and is beautiful for that use. Once you have the side front dart and the neck dart bridged and the bulk eliminated in that way, then we want to trim away the seam allowance down the center front. The X's mark all the spots, you know, the area that you want to trim away. We want to leave the seam allowance in the lapel area up to about the dart, and then get rid of it in the neck. This is because we're going to need that for the pad stitching of the lapel later. I like to leave the seam allowance at the shoulder so that later it can bridge the gap or bridge over the wool seam that we'll stitch in a later step. And then I like to carry my chest front into the arm's eye and all the way around here. So I'll cut away and leave about a 1/2 inch or 3/4 of an inch high-mo canvas to go into the arm's eye to support that sleeve that we'll set in. And then it doesn't need to go into the side back seam, and we can create a nice curve here. So what that looks like when we're done trimming is this. So we've trimmed away around the bottom, up the front, left the seam allowance here at the lapel area over to the neck dart that we've bridged with the wiggin, and we've trimmed away that the excess just to make that as smooth and flat as we can. Don't want to carry the canvas into the neck, keeping it at the shoulder, keeping some around the arm's eye, and then this is that side back. And look at that. That needs to be cut into a nice curve. There.